So Diddy's like 21, 22 years old, getting into the rap game, volunteering at a record label, like working his way up. And he gets noticed by this old record executive named Clive Davis, who's like in his 40s or 50s at that point, and he's like been running the game for a long time. Lots of ties to the mob because the music industry is full of mob connections and money laundering because they kind of built the modern music industry. He was managing stars like the Grateful Dead and Janis Joplin, like all through the 70s and 80s and 90s. And then Diddy comes on the scene in the early 90s, and he is bringing Tupac and Biggie up into fame. And we all kind of know the Biggie and Tupac story, and that's getting brought right back up because Diddy's right in the middle of those shootings. But once Tupac and Biggie are out of the way, we'll talk more about that shooting when we get to this book.
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z was actually like the kid underneath Biggie. He was like living in Biggie's shadow. And once Biggie was out of the way, Jay-Z and Diddy became like the pair, and Diddy brought Jay-Z up with him, and they became kind of like the two kings of the industry. And Diddy is like managing his own label that like Clive basically funds an entire label called Bad Boy Records for Diddy when he's like 24, 25 years old. And Bad Boy starts like putting out all these great rappers, and like, that he kind of becomes the king of the industry. He dates J-Lo for a long time. There's all kinds of rumors and like allegations of assault, allegations that he's shot people, that he blew up Kid Cudi's car, that are getting whispered around in the industry, and none of it gets officially accused until very recently. But everyone kind of knew that Diddy was fucking shady, and he was friends with everyone from like Ashton Kutcher to Kamala Harris to like Obama, like all those stars, you name it. Diddy is everywhere. Like, and he's throwing these parties, and he's famous for throwing these freak off parties.
And for the young people,
sometimes,
real quick, just to add more credence to what you're saying, the young people might not know this. Like, if you're born in like the 90s, if you were born in the 90s like us and you're old like us, you saw Diddy everywhere in the early 2000s and 90s, bro. He was literally fucking everywhere. And he was actually one of the few rappers that I saw, he would go ahead and make friends with a lot of these like Caucasian big A-list celebrities like the Ashton Kutchers, etc.
Leonardo DiCaprio,
like everyone got along with Diddy. Like he wasn't like one of these people. He was able to like transcend culture and backgrounds with different types of people in the early 2000s, in the 90s. These Gen Zers, they're probably like, Diddy, who the fuck is that? Or I heard some of his songs.
Because he's fucking irrelevant these days.
Yeah, he's irrelevant.
Except like he's still so powerful behind the scenes, even though he doesn't make good music, and he's like, no one gives a shit who he is, but he actually is like fucking powerful behind the scenes.
Very. But he was all over the place in the early 2000s. For the audience that doesn't know, dude, the guy in the early 2000s, you couldn't fucking avoid him. He was everywhere, dude. But sorry,
I can't think of who would be similar to him in today's rap industry, but I'm sure there's a parallel to someone here today.
I'm trying to think who, because, I'm trying to give an example.
I mean, to be fair, he's still on top of the game. So anyone you would compare him to in today's new rap industry, Diddy's above them. Like, Diddy made whoever's, running today's rap industry. And all those new guns, these new guys are now like licking their chops to move up the ladder, I would assume. Jay-Z is definitely licking his chops to move up the ladder and take over that fucking throne.
I'll say this. Diddy is like kind of like almost like Drake, but he didn't make hit records. He's everywhere, but like he didn't make hit records, so to speak.
Yeah.
But
Drake was definitely at these parties. Drake was definitely getting down at the freak offs.
I believe it.
And so then Diddy does all this shit throughout, and the industry rumors all throughout his career, but like we don't really get anything. We get a couple of like little things that get like basically like, a guy gets shot, but then this other rapper takes the bid and goes to prison for Diddy. And he's basically just protected his whole career until recently. And his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, drops a lawsuit alleging all sorts of like drugs, violence, horrible stuff. I forgot, we're on YouTube, so I'm going to start to like,
you're
chat.
fine.
You're going to have to just like, you'll know what I'm saying. And so he's doing all these horrible things. And Cassie makes all kinds of allegations. And the lawsuit sits out there for a couple days, and then Diddy settles for a large unknown sum of money.
I heard $33 million, but I don't know.
I believe it.
Yeah, I heard $33 million. And it's funny because he said he was going to fight it. And then like literally like in 24 hours, he settles, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. And then someone whispered to him of like, dude, don't fight it. You're screwed.
I think she had the
and
video.
later, video from the hotel came out. Like there was plenty of evidence. It was not, she was going to win. But it was out long enough that everyone saw it, everyone knew about it, and then everyone knew that he settled. And so suddenly a whole wave of lawsuits came in from victims, from all kinds of people. And most people didn't really notice any of the other lawsuits until Lil Rod. And Lil Rod brought a banger of a lawsuit. This is kind of the one that blew the whole thing wide open. This is the one that
I'll
was
pull it
when
up for the
everyone
audience
heard
as you
about
talk.
Diddy.
I'll pull it up for the
Yeah,
people
that
as
was
you
Lil
talk.
Rod.
Go ahead.
And Lil Rod alleged that Diddy was running a video blackmail ring where he had his mansions wired up with cameras. Allegedly he was, like transporting women for nefarious purposes all around the country. Some of them were underage at these parties. There was drugs being given to people without their knowledge. There was all kinds of essay in every direction. It's just like all kinds of crazy stuff. Like he has direct testimony about witnessing unalivings and stuff like that. So it's just like a wild lawsuit. It's worth just reading because it's so jam packed with like action and evidence, and there's photos in it. He's like, there are sex tapes in it. There's all kinds of stuff in it. And basically it alleges that Diddy's running like a gay blackmail ring where he's like getting people to do stuff on camera, whether they know it or not. And that lawsuit really broke it open. Since then, there's been a lot of developments. And at first, people were kind of skeptical. It's like, we don't want to speculate. We don't know. We don't know. But like, let's be real. When we look at it, it's pretty freaking clear that Diddy was put in this position by record executives above him that are all tied into the mob, and the mob has long-standing ties to the blackmail industries. And then B, Diddy clearly is involved in the trafficking networks because he's getting all of these, women and underage women, the prostitutes and stuff like that. He's tied into drug networks. There's lots of allegations of hip hop stars moving drugs. And he's clearly got blackmail on people, and he's protected by something federal at the federal level because it talks about in the lawsuit how his security guy could make federal and local law enforcement bugger off.
Fahim Muhammad, right?
Yes, Fahim Muhammad, who was also the
right
security guard for Michael Jackson. And Fahim Muhammad has a real estate degree, and he's got a whole like hundreds of acres of land right on the border of Tijuana and San Diego with the border wall on his property. So there's just all these different directions of like what the hell is going on. And lots of stuff has come out since that lawsuit. In particular, this lawyer in Texas has alleged that he now represents 120 victims and counting. He alleges that lots of people are going to get named. Lots of people are going to go down is what he's saying. Corporations are going to go down. He's like, this dude, this lawyer, Bigby, is not shy about making big claims. And he's got a pretty high-powered history. He's like definitely a more credible lawyer than some of the other lawyers we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And then this book drops. And this is really interesting. It's called Kim's Last Words, and it was published by Jamal T. Millwood, which is like a whole Tupac kind of homage rabbit hole there, if you don't know. And then for Kimberly A. Porter. And what the allegation is, this got put on Amazon like 2 weeks ago or something, and then after 4 or 5 days, it got pulled.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm glad I got it in time because what it says it is this is a diary, like a journal, a book that was being written by Kim Porter, who is Diddy's ex-wife, who died mysteriously of pneumonia, right at a time when all sorts of other people were dying of pneumonia all around Diddy. And she allegedly wrote these words herself, and we're compiling them on a drive, and it tells the story of how she met Diddy and her whole life around Diddy and lots of the scandals that Diddy was involved in, and then of Diddy kind of like of her wanting to get out, and then her stealing some of Diddy's blackmail tapes from his vault in order to create like a security, blanket, so to speak, of a vault, so that if he ever came for her, she could release it. And then the very last page of this book is her writing that she's getting sick, she's getting pneumonia, and she's writing the last pages here while she's waiting for the ambulance to come and get her. And she writes, "Diddy got me, I'm dead." Basically.
Wow.
And it's like, what is this, and how could we ever trust it? And at first, it's like you can't trust it. At first, this is just total hearsay on the internet. Someone's just doing a cash grab, right? But then when you read it, it's like it's pretty detailed, and it's detailed in the way that implies that someone was it feels like someone was there for these conversations, and it feels like she's actually remembering real conversations between Diddy and Jay-Z, and Diddy and Pac, and Diddy and Al B. Sure, and all these things. And it makes all kinds of crazy allegations, wild, gay allegations, wild conspiracy allegations, allegations about what Diddy did to other people and in the industry, that he ordered the hit on Pac and then sort of halfway ordered and allowed the hit on Biggie to happen. It actually kind of alleges that the entire beef between Diddy and Pac that led to Tupac getting shot actually started because Diddy wanted to have a threesome with Tupac and Kim Porter, and Tupac was like, "No, dude, get out of here. I don't want
And that's all in this book. That's all in this book.
That's what it says. Yeah, it says that Diddy, because Diddy was
that's
really
her
fond
words.
of that. Yeah. Let me read you one of the most effed up quotes in here.
Sure, go ahead.
This is about the first time that Kim played with Diddy's, because he begged her to. Clive had already been grooming Diddy's real good, so Clive had taught Diddy all about the booty hole.
Really? So
yeah.
Okay.
And then he asked Kim, he wanted Kim to start.
Wow. So let me get this straight. So Diddy and Clive Davis were lovers?
Oh yeah. Clive groomed Diddy into the. Yeah, so Clive was 40 or 50, and Diddy's this young 20-something-year-old black thug. And Clive picked him up, and I'm sure that Diddy was already fucking doing whatever he wanted to do. But Clive, the strong rumors in this book and in the industry all over the place, people are alleging that Clive Davis and Diddy were lovers.
Because I was going to ask you this, and before you read that thing, because I was like, okay, because when I heard all this stuff come out, I was like, okay, is Diddy actually, or does he do it to have power over people and blackmail them, right?
Oh, it sounds like he's more than straight. Okay. Based upon what most of the people in the industry are saying, not just this book at all, although this book is totally on the same page as that.
Okay.
But basically everyone in the industry I'm hearing talk about it says that Diddy is more interested in men than women.
Really?
Kind of here nor there.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry.
And you can kind of extract that from the lawsuits too, based upon the types of things he likes to watch. Like when you read Cassie's lawsuit, it's kind of sounds like he's more interested in what type of dude and is in the picture than his own girl. I mean, first off, he likes watching other dudes with his girls. So this book gets wild.
Wow. And it got pulled off Amazon.
Say again.
And you said it literally was on Amazon for a few days and got pulled, right?
Yeah, it got pulled. Yeah.
Do we know who pulled it? Was it Diddy's legal team or?
The guy that is in charge of publishing it, the guy that's publishing it under this pseudonym, he recently did a interview on The Art of Dialogue, which is super enlightening as to what this is. And to me, it lent a lot of credibility to this book. Because the guy has broken other whistleblower testimony before. He's been involved in other legal cases before. He alleges that he was approached. He's a white guy. And he alleges that he was approached by sources close to Kim, which you assume are the people that Kim sent this flash drive of all this stuff to when she died. Mm-hmm. They apparently approached him and said, "It's time, and we want you to release this. Here's the flash drive with what's on it." And he vetted what was on the flash drive, and it was all of these pages of documents that she had written, along with a whole bunch of video files from the vault, the ones that Kim had stolen from the vault. And he says that he has seen the videos and he intends to release the videos. And he also says that he intends to allow people to forensically examine the sort of metadata of the flash drive in order to kind of corroborate it and all that.
Okay.
And everyone should make their own judgment call about it. You should watch it for yourself and kind of judge whether you think it's real or not. To me, but all combined, it adds to the picture in a way that fits right in. And if it is real, this book is pretty enlightening in terms of what it's talking about. It talks about why Jay-Z is on the scene and how Jay-Z basically ratted Biggie and Tupac out so that he could climb the ladder because he was sick of being in Biggie's shadow. It names a lot of names about who was sleeping with who in terms of male rappers with male rappers. Talks about what was happening at the parties. So it's if people can get their hands on this book, it's worth getting your hands on. It's only 40 pages. It's a 1 hour read.
Wow, is that
a couple
short?
bucks on the internet. I'm sure it'll go back up somewhere at some point, but that adds a whole new layer to the story in terms of where Diddy came from and what his life story actually was and the
Yep.
kinds of things that he's been doing all along. And it kind of basically it just fills in and cements all the rumors that we've all already heard. It's like we've all heard the rumor that Diddy killed Pac. We've all heard the rumor that Diddy has freak offs. We've heard the rumor that Jay-Z is fucked up. But like that kind of puts texture to it all if it's true.